Hello and welcome back to my nail corner. These are all the things we're going to use today, or most of the things we're going to use today to do a Halloween themed mani. It's nothing crazy, but I did post a picture of this over in the Triple D Facebook group, so if you're not already in that group, you should be. We always do lives showing new releases, and it's lots of fun, great support, lots of fun ladies, people in general in that group, and we have a great time, so consider joining. I am going to get into a couple dips of Moonlight. Moonlight is a white dip that glows in the dark, and if you have been around for a minute, then you know I love white nails and I love glow in the dark nails. So this one has my heart, and every chance I get, I reach for it. So I'm going to do 3 dips on this nail, and that is because my first dip was a little bit patchy. I would have been a little bit sloppy around the edges, and so I just opted to do 3 dips just to make sure I had like full opacity, is that the way to say it, all the way around the edges. You know, sometimes when you like dust off the excess and around the edges are a little bit patchy, with white in particular you really want to get your coats like opaque, because when you file, you know, it can expose any kind of transparent areas. So that being said, I do want to let you guys know this recording is out of order from my next one. I wanted to do this one first because I did already post this mani in the Facebook group, and a couple of gals there were asking how I did it, and so I did want to make it a priority to do this one first. My next upload is also Halloween, and it's kind of black and white like I'm doing with this one, so I hope it's not too repetitive for you guys. It is different technique, so please do tune in for that, and I will try, I'm crossing my fingers, I know you can't see them, I will try so hard to get that edited and uploaded for Saturday. I really want to be back on schedule, but man oh man, has my life been like turned upside down the past couple of weeks. And besides all of those exterior things, like outside of my actual physical house that have been turning my life upside down, my kids both got colds last week. Like my son started first, then 3 days later my daughter started, and then 3 days after that my husband got it. So I was in a household of sickies for the past 10 days. Everybody is like at like 95% now, like doing much better. My kids actually went to school today. I'm recording this on Tuesday, this voiceover. They actually went to school today, which I desperately needed because I had to run around all over town for the 5 hours that they were at school, and so it was really good to have like that time to myself. And you guys, I'm crossing those fingers again. So far I have not gotten sick. It's a miracle. I don't know what's happening. But nails, so right now I am I took my dip base brush out. I got it like frayed somehow. I think at one point I was like cleaning glitter out of it. Anyway, it was kind of frayed, and I think it's what caused kind of my poor application on that ring finger. So I just swapped it out with my dip top coat brush because I'm not using dip top coat most of the time. I'm using gel top coat. So I was just like, I'm just going to use the dip top coat. They are pretty much the same formula. Dip base and dip top are just like interchangeable. So I figured I could risk using that brush, and the swap went fine. I didn't have like a hardened brush or any kind of weird reactions. So now I am dipping into Black Magic. This is again by Triple D. It is black, but it also has glow pigment in it. Now, if you're familiar with glow pigment and dip powder at all, it's very hard to make a really dark pigmented powder glow, because basically you have your black pigment powder and then you add in glow pigment, and the tendency would be if you add too much glow, it's going to alter that color so that it doesn't really look black anymore when it's, in daylight, So in general, your darker pigments will tend to glow less powerfully. Does that make sense? So you'll see this glow at the end, and obviously the white glow will be like super bright, that nail will be, and then the others will be a little bit more, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of a green glow, and it makes me think of like I don't know, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and like the oozy slime kind of color. I don't know. You'll see when it glows, and maybe that won't mean anything to you, but that's what it makes me think of. That being said, this black is kind of awesome to work with. I don't have any staining issues. I think the mix of the glow pigment in the black really kind of helps with that. I don't know. I'm not like a scientist, chemist, whatever you want to call it, but I just feel like the glow pigment contributes to the fact that this just really doesn't stain. That being said, I've had a lot of questions lately. I posted a picture on my Instagram and in a Facebook group of a navy mani, and people were like, how do you get your cuticle lines and your cuticles so clean, there's no staining? A lot of that has to do with just being really precise with your dip base application to try to keep it off of your skin. However, if I do have staining or cleanup to do around the cuticles when I'm using a really dark pigmented powder like this, I pull out my Blue Cross cuticle remover pen, apply that, and this is after like filing, shaping, buffing, all of that. I'll use the cuticle remover or softener. I guess it's softener and remover, I don't know. And then I'll use my glass cuticle pusher. So you guys have seen it before, and then I also have them linked in my Amazon storefront, but it has kind of like a flat cuticle pusher end, and then the other end is pointed. I use the pointed end, and I really just go around that cuticle line, making sure all of that extra, any staining or any pigment where I don't want it, any powder, is cleaned up. And that is prior to going in with my top coat. So if you find that you have that, just know that I think the ideal cleanup window is after filing and buffing, but prior to top coat. So when your hands are like rinsed in warm water and you want to use that cuticle remover, soften up those cuticles, and then just go in with one of those glass cuticle pushers and really clean up around those cuticle lines. It helps immensely, and it will give you that like picture perfect cuticle line. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this application. I am not going to cap in clear. I know it's like against everything that I've ever told you guys. I had my Triple D clear out, but I'm pretty sure I have been sloppy with it and contaminated it with glitter. And so I was like, you know what? This application was pretty nice and smooth, so I didn't feel like I needed that extra kind of buffer for filing. And because black is obviously super, super pigmented, I wasn't worried about filing through the pigment. You know what I mean? Like if you have like maybe like a bright pink, you might file through some of that pigment and get like a burnt spot, but I wasn't really worried about that with the black. So I'm actually just going to activate starting with the white nail, because if I activate the black, I might get black on my activator brush and then tint my white nail. Does that make sense? So you want to always start, if you can, with your lightest color nail first, and then go and activate the others. Do you see that? This is also why I typically cap in clear. That black is getting on my brush, and that's why I'm wiping it off on my paper towel, because I can't see into that jar, but I know I'm mildly contaminating my activator right now. So do as I say, not as I do. This is a poor example, but I was acting quickly because I was low on time when I was doing this mani. So I went ahead and I'm going to file and buff those, and now we're going to get into some stamping. So these stamps I got on Amazon, or the stamping plates, like last year, and I did check Amazon because I used these in one of my prior uploads and it said currently unavailable. So sorry. If I see them pop up again, I will put them in my Amazon storefront, so you guys can always check there under nail art. And if I use a stamping plate, I do try to add it to my Amazon storefront so that it's kind of there for future reference, but I apologize, this set was currently unavailable. So this is my Triple D stamper. I love this stamper so much. It's such a nice size and just really performs nicely. And then I have my Triple D foil stamping polish in black. This is going to be super simple. I'm going to show you on 2 nails, and I just got cut off by a phone call, but I'm going to show you on 2 nails like I just said, and then I'm going to do the other 3 off camera. So I went ahead and applied the stamping polish, scraped off the excess, and then picked up the image on my stamper. I'm telling you, this stamping polish picks up so easily. Even with fine lines like a spider web, I just have such like successful stamping experiences. So if you've struggled with stamping, I really highly recommend you trying the Triple D foil stamping polish. It's just like stickier, so it picks up really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp onto that white nail where I want it. I love a clear jelly stamper. It just helps you place your image exactly where you want it. The flaw in my system is that I just kept my black stamping polish out to do the black nails, and so when you're putting black against black, kind of hard to see where you're placing the image, but it worked out fine. In the future, I would have probably grabbed my white stamping polish to go on the black just so I could see better like where I was placing the image. So now I have a chrome pen out, and I wanted to kind of test this because when it was on the white dip powder, I wanted to make sure I'd be able to get it off and just have it on the stamp, and I'm telling you guys, it worked perfectly. So this particular stamping polish allows you to chrome. You can use pigment over it. Dodie did a spiderweb mani and she used the stamping polish, and she used a couple of her glow dip powders on the stamp. So she had just this like the spiderweb stamp covered in pigment that glowed, and it was amazing. So it's just that simple. You get some chrome on the chrome pen, dab it on to where the stamp is, and it just picks up that chrome perfectly. So I had a pink chrome spider web, and that was all with black stamping polish applied. It's really magical. And then I just used my little brush there to dust off the chrome powder from my dip powder. It stays on the sticky stamping polish, and then it just dusts right off your nail. So I'm gonna let you guys watch while I do my next nail, and then I'm gonna come back and wrap this up with you guys. Okay, you guys, how cool is that? I have used obviously the stamping polish and chrome before, and still I am shooketh. I love it so much. So I am going in with my Triple D gel base. If you're new here, then I'll say this for your benefit. And also thank you for being here, and please consider subscribing to my channel. It really helps me out. I love having more of you guys here to join me for these uploads. And it's no cost to you to subscribe, so please consider doing that. Anyway, and that way you won't miss anything in the future, because if you're like me, you hate missing out. So I apply gel base when I'm applying a gel top coat over dip powder. If you are using dip top coat, you don't need to do this, but dip top coat over a nail art situation like this would be a little bit more complicated and possibly ruin the nail art you just did. So gel base is going to give me like a tacky layer for my gel top coat to adhere to. Gel top coat in general does not stick very well to a slick, smooth surface like buffed dip powder. So gel base is going to give us that like sticky layer on top for the gel top coat to stick to. I love Triple D gels, so if you're in the market for some new gels, definitely check out their gel base, gel top coat, and today I'm going to be using their matte top coat. And what you're seeing me do here, a couple of extra strokes over a couple of nails, is that my gel base was kind of like splotchy a little bit, and I think that that's because I had some chrome residual kind of on the nails, and so it just kind of messed with it. I've never had it happen before, but that's what I figured out. I was like, oh, it's the chrome powder kind of affecting my application. So you can see right there that my pinky is matte. I was testing the matte top coat over one nail to see if I'd like it, and I loved it. So I'm going ahead and applying the Matte Me Up Gel Matte Top Coat from Triple D over the rest of these nails, and I'm going to cure them for 60 seconds, and then we're going to be done. All right, I loved the way this turned out. What do you guys think? I thought this was so fun. It was like, I mean, definitely Halloween vibes with the spider webs, but like the pink just made it feel all the Triple D vibes. This was a big collab. We kind of said, do spider web manis and then post them. And so there was a big thread in the group with spider web manis, and it just felt like so girly and like glam, but also Halloweeny, but like classy. I don't know. Obviously, I have a lot of love for this mani, and I hope you guys did too. I appreciate you guys joining me. This has been like a great time to kind of decompress from the stresses going on and just chat at you guys about nails. So here is what the glow looks like. Okay, do you see like the oozy green vibe I was talking about? But how bright is Moonlight? Holy crap. It's like a flashlight. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm going to do my very best to have another Halloween vibe for you on Saturday. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.